what again do you call this ball or sphere? Tess. A globe. And who can tell me again, what was the imaginary center line around the globe? Eric, do you remember what this imaginary line is around the center of the globe? Landon?
The equator.
Equator. And what was the part at the top, above the equator? What was that called? Olivia.
The northern hemisphere.
Yes, the northern hemisphere. And what was the part at the bottom? Paige.
The southern hemisphere.
Very good. The southern hemisphere. All right, the next thing we want to talk about, let's look at the map on the board. We're going to talk about the continents. These large areas of land are called, I just said it. Please sit up. Not nap time. Continents. So what is this continent?
North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica.
All right, so those are all the continents. All right, this is the continent that we are on. It is made up of the United States of America. Our neighbor to the north is, does somebody know? Canada. And our neighbor to the south is? Mexico. Now the United States, most of the United States is right here, but this right here that's connected to Canada, who knows what state that is? Eric? Alex? You weren't raising your hand? Jonathan?
I don't know exactly what state it is, but I'm pretty sure Niagara Falls is there.
No, Niagara Falls is right in this area right here.
I know.
Okay?
Washington.
No, this state right here is Washington. There's a state up here that's only connected to Canada. It does not actually touch the United States. What is it? It's Alaska, guys. This is Alaska. And there's another state out here in the ocean, this little tiny state that belongs to the United States. What's that?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. Very good.
That's how small Hawaii is? I can't even see that.
So Alaska is actually the biggest state in the United States.
What?
Sometimes when you're looking at another map and you see Alaska and they just have it popped over there in the, on the side, they don't have it connected to Canada, it does not look the biggest. You would look at Texas and say, well, Texas looks bigger.
Yeah.
But if you look at Alaska as it is up here compared to Texas, which you can't see all the states here, we'll look at another map later where we can see all the states, you would realize that Alaska is bigger than even Texas. It is the biggest state in the United States. All right, now we're going to review the oceans before we continue on. All right, so the oceans.
Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Southern Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean.
All right, next week when I have this up here, I'm actually going to turn it around and, whoops, I'm going to turn it around so you can't see all these things. So have you been looking and paying attention? Because I'm going to turn it around and I'm just going to be pointing and you're going to have to be telling me one more time.
North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Arctic Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, Arctic Ocean, Southern Ocean.
Did I forget this one?
Yeah.
Antarctica.
All right, so I'm going to have to just be pointing to the continents and pointing to the oceans, and you need to know them. And we will have them on a test. So those of you that have not been paying attention, I hope you start paying attention. All right, let's begin reading on
Antarctica on the globe right
No,
there.
you're talking out again. Please stop talking out. All right, page 8. Finding a way to the Indies. Many fine map makers lived in Portugal. They hoped to find a new way to the Indies, another name for India, China, Japan, and the Spice Islands. Let's look before we continue reading. Remember I told you this is India, and Japan is over here, and these are the Spice Islands here, and China's up here. So that's where they were getting all these riches from. Many countries in Europe longed to buy the riches that the Indies had to offer them. Pearls, gold, silks, and spices. Though people could make this journey by land, it took a long, long time. Treasures from the Indies had to be carried on the backs of camels. The camel caravans would have to travel through many countries, and some of these countries were enemies that would not let the camel caravans pass through. Often, the caravans were robbed and their goods sold to the people in other countries for very high prices. Only a very rich man could afford to buy spices for his food. There had to be an easier way to buy goods from the Indies. I just want to make sure what page I'm supposed to stop on. All right. One day, Christopher Columbus was listening to some sea captains. They were talking about finding a sea route to the Indies. The captains agreed that if they sailed east around Africa, one day someone would find a route to India and the rest of the Indies. So they're thinking, instead of traveling across land to go get the goods, they want to go east around Africa this way, come around Africa and go east, and that they get there. Were they right?
Yes.
But why were they hesitant to do all this? Why were they hesitant?
Pirates?
Pirates was one. What's the other reason? What were they afraid of?
It's near it's near Antarctica, so the water's like cold.
It would get colder, but it's not really cold till you get super down there. Yes, they were afraid of the Sea of Darkness. Remember the Sea of Darkness?
I was still thinking about the dark sea.
Yeah, it's the Sea of Darkness. Please stop talking out. Okay. Suddenly, an idea came to Columbus. If the world is round, as I have heard, he thought, why couldn't a ship sail west and come to the east? Somewhere the east has to meet the west. So he's thinking he can go this way and end up here. And he is right, but he did not realize that he would have to sail all the way around South America to come back up and come in through here. Hey, you will stop blurting out. Stop blurting out. If you have a comment, raise your hand. Yes.
If you're going across the world, that would take like super long. And
Yes, it would take a really long time.
And if it stops winding, the wind stops for a day, you could just be there for like.
Be stranded, yes. All right, let's keep going. The captains, he said, the quickest way to the Indies is sailing west, not east, he excitedly told them. The captains shook their heads. The ocean is too big. You would sail till you ran out of food and drinking water, they said. At that time, no one realized how long such a trip would take. Even Christopher Columbus did not know for sure how big or small the world was. Remember, they couldn't go into space and see the world from space to see how big it was. Turn the page. Looking for help. Surely the King of Portugal will listen to my idea, thought Christopher Columbus. By the way, before we keep reading, why was he in Portugal? Remember, he was born in Italy, so what was he doing in Portugal?
The pirates.
Yeah, the
They
pirates
wrecked the
had
ship.
shipwrecked him, and he had ended up in Portugal. Just him alone. He was the only one that survived. So that's why he's in Portugal. The king might lend me ships and a crew to try to reach the Indies by sailing west. If I could reach the Indies, I could make the King of Portugal rich with all the spices, gold, and pearls that I would bring back to him. When the King of Portugal did not believe that Christopher Columbus had a good idea, Columbus did not give up. Instead, he sailed to Spain. Remember, Portugal is here, right here at the edge of this, and Spain is right behind it. If we could see them both together, it almost looks like a lady's head. This looks like her hair, and the part where Portugal is looks like her face.
Oh my.
I can't see because of the
Well, it's just wait till I get my other map up in the room. We've got to wait till the whiteboard gets put in, and then they can put my other maps up. All right. Instead, he sailed to Spain. King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain listened to all that he said. They were interested, but at the time Spain was at war. Come back after the war is over, they said. 6 years passed before Spain won the war. Queen Isabella once again became interested in hearing what Christopher Columbus had to say. The king and queen thought and thought. Finally, they said yes. All right, you will need to know the names of the king and the queen of Spain who helped him. They were King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella. Think of that Ferdinand the Bull, right? And then we can help you think of King Ferdinand. Getting ready to sail. Christopher Columbus was given the title Admiral of the Ocean Sea. And you will need to remember that. What was his title that the King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella gave him? Admiral of the Ocean Sea. And was given 3 ships for his journey. They were the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. And you'll need to know those names of the ships. The Nina, whose name means little one, was the smallest of the 3 ships, but it was built the best. The Pinta was the fastest of the 3 ships. The Santa Maria was the largest ship, and it was also the slowest. Columbus, Admiral of the Ocean Sea, became captain of the Santa Maria. Now, Columbus needed to find a captain for the Nina and the Pinta, and one for the Pinta. He also needed to find a crew of sailors for each of the 3 ships. But that would be a hard job. When the sailors heard that they would be sailing on the Sea of Darkness, they said no. No one from Europe had ever sailed on the Sea of Darkness or knew how big the sea was. Perhaps, thought the frightened sailors, we will die of hunger and thirst if we cannot find land. Because, you can only pack so much food and water on a ship. And you can't just lower a bucket and drink seawater. Why not?
Because it has too much salt.
Yes, it has too much salt. It was not only the Sea of Darkness that worried the sailors. They did not trust Christopher Columbus. He had proven himself to be a good captain in Portugal, but the Spanish sailors had never heard of Christopher Columbus. Would you want to go on a trip with somebody that you had never heard of, that you did not know?
Yes.
You shouldn't. They would not sail upon the Sea of Darkness with a captain they did not know and trust. Finally, a well-known Spanish sea captain signed up to be captain of Pinta. The Spanish captain's brother signed up to be captain of the Little Nina. The sailors trusted these captains, and at last the sailors began forming crews for the 3 ships. All right, in that little picture, you see inside a boat that would be like the Santa Maria. That is not the Santa Maria, but they've made a replica of it so you could see what it was like. And it's the same thing with the 3 boats that you see there in the water. Is that really the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria? No, those would be replicas. Those boats would have
Different ships that
rotted long, long ago. All right, turn page. What is another name for India, China, Japan, and the Spice Islands? Jonathan? I didn't hear you.
Asia.
No, I need the
Oh,
answer.
the Indies.
The Indies, yes, we're given the Indies. It's from the continent of Asia, but there's more to Asia than just those. So when I say what is another name for India, China, Japan, and the Spice Islands, you're going to say the Indies. Grace, I need you paying attention. We don't play with our necklaces when I'm teaching. What were the name of the king and queen who finally helped Christopher Columbus? Paige?
King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella.
And King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella were from what country? Spain. Very good. Raise your hands, guys. Name the 3 ships Columbus was given. I want one at a time. Name one. Nina? Give me another one.
The Santa Maria.
The Santa Maria, so you have to name the other one? The Pinta. The Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. What title did the King and Queen of Spain give to Columbus? Raise your hand. What title did the King and Queen of Spain give to Columbus? Adam? Somebody help him out?
Admiral of the Ocean Sea.
Admiral of the Ocean Sea. Everybody say it. Admiral of the ocean sea. Why did the Spanish sailors not want to become part of Columbus's crew? Why? There's more than one reason. Give me one reason.
They didn't know him and they
Yes,
didn't know if he was
they
a
didn't know
sailor or
Columbus,
not.
so they didn't trust Columbus. What was that? What else were they afraid of?
Because they didn't know how big the ocean was.
So what were they afraid of?
The dark sea.
Okay, they were afraid of the Sea of Darkness because remember they thought it had boiling spots and sea monsters. But what were they afraid of about the bigness of the ocean? What were they afraid might happen?
They run out of food and water.
Yes, they were afraid that they might run out of food and water. All right, very good.